facing the police every single day.
Biography of Provocateur William Garret Snow, Jr., aka Gary Snow. We represented a member of the Jacks 5, a group of protesters who got arrested after counter-protesters caused chaos which was otherwise left to escalate by officers. New Jacksonville resident and provocateur Gary Snow repeatedly posted about her, as well as about my own family. Snow recently posted a video of my 2-year-old child on his Facebook page for his own agenda, and his girlfriend incited people to leave disparaging remarks on our Facebook page, which they did. As such, we took the time to provide a biography of Gary Snow for the local public and police. The Times-Union has recently posted a similar story here. For those who don't know the story, here is Action News' entire live feed of the Hemming Park incident. Snow is the counter-protester with the Trump flag. Not only is there some who say there is evidence showing first contact with the protester Connell Crooms, but that Snow taunted him by name days before this, calling him a motherfucker, and engaging him and others both on and off the internet. We hope recent events serve as warning to law enforcement entities that Snow's apparent goal is to disrupt speech and order. It should not be tolerated. It appears it was not tolerated in Chicago, as he admittedly was prevented from doing what he has been allowed to do in Jacksonville. He even brags about having inside sources within JSO, has family members of JSO officers openly engage with him, and otherwise, some argue, has received unfair treatment in the eyes of the law. In Chicago, according to many reports, the law enforcement community quickly spotted Snow as an opportunist and someone who actually sought to profit off of the persecution of law enforcement. As one poster of a primary Chicago Police Department blog said, Hat guy Gary Snow is a scammer that started the Code Blue t-shirts, yet none of the money he collects goes to any police organizations. He also started a GoFundMe page collecting $$ for Van Dyke, but the Van Dyke family didn't know him. There are numerous posts about his scamming on FB etc. We did this in Wikipedia style and added citations, where appropriate, building this page based on Snow's own posts and the posts of others. We disclaim first-hand knowledge of any of these incidents/matters. If anyone has additional information, please contact us or send it to help@floridajustice.com. William Garret Snow, Jr. Background. Gary Snow. Talking about Gary Snow. Gary Snow is a 40-year-old semi-professional protester and provocateur, currently residing in Jacksonville, Florida. He has identified himself as a fiber optic splicing technician and may be a subcontractor through his company, Fiber Snow Communications LLC. It is still registered to an Indiana residential address in Crown Point, Indiana. He frequently posts photos of himself working on utility poles, and a police report identifies Southeast Utilities of Georgia as his employer. He moved to Jacksonville in 2016. According to the Times-Union, Snow, his girlfriend, and their daughter left Chicago last spring after the girlfriend lost her job of 17 years because of outsourcing. Snow still had Indiana plates on his vehicle when this video was put online. It is unknown what, if any, ties Snow has to the Jacksonville community. His family lives in Mississippi and the Midwest. While we do not plan to identify them by name, both his significant other and mother have posted similar antagonistic things on his behalf. Snow came here from the Illinois/Indiana region, claiming once in a post to be born and raised in Chicago. It appears he indeed grew up in that area and often wears clothing supporting Notre Dame and Chicago area teams. He appears to have also lived in Mississippi and has family there. He also seemingly resided in Kentucky for a time period. Records indicate a judgment against him in Covington, Kentucky by St. Elizabeth Medical Center. It was filed in 2014. Snow is an ardent supporter of Donald J. Trump and feverishly opposed to any progressive or minority movements, including Black Lives Matter. He indicates that those movements are exhibitions of reverse racism. Since Donald Trump's election, much of his energy has been against the Antifa, or the anti-fascist movement. One of his first events he publicized on a Facebook page he apparently created, Trump Mandarin, was the opening of a Mandarin office for Donald Trump and then a subsequent rally where Donald Trump spoke. Local GOP officials deny he was paid. He has repeatedly held himself out as having clout with the Trump campaign and certainly got some photos smiling with local politicians. From his posts, it seems he had a role with the office and campaign. He has since taken photos with and name-dropped some of the who's who in the local Jacksonville, Florida area GOP. Employment. Snow was spotted and photographed in Comcast vehicles up north and has similarly been spotted in a Southeast Utilities of Georgia bucket truck locally. In addition to his work in fiber optics splicing, Snow has consistently used police persecution to sell shirts and raise money through sites like GoFundMe. He created a campaign only 2 days after the Hemming Park incident, and frequently uses police-involved incidents as an opportunity to fundraise for himself. One such GoFundMe is located here: https://www.gofundme.com/q4ju4-we-stand-with-president-Trump. It states, "If you thought the Democrats were going to just hand us back our country without a fight, you are wrong. I have been leading a campaign to counter these protests and anti-Trump groups in Jacksonville, and our state of Florida. My commitment and tenacity is fueled by my faith in leadership from our President, Donald J. Trump. I feel it is our obligation and duty to defend and support our President from these attacks. And I am creating this GoFundMe campaign in order to get initial supplies that are desperately needed for our counter-protests. As I have been paying out of pocket so far, large signs, banners, small signs, a megaphone, bullhorn, water, shirts, and other supplies as needed." He also is selling shirts with a similar call for need for supplies to protest. In addition to making personal profit off of President Trump and his brand, Snow previously sold Chicago Code Blue shirts for $15 apiece. These often depicted the Chicago Police Department's logos and trademarks. He also sold shirts in the name of an indicted officer, allegedly for profit without permission from the officer's family. Most shirt listings are now inactive. 26 sold, no money donated to police. Despite the fact it is a support police shirt, it is listed to raise money for rally supplies. 33 sold, $200 donated, as discussed in Times Union article. Post previously had photos of officers with Trump, in no way affiliated with Snow or CCB, no longer available due to content issues. Had black handprint shirt he created and sold after Illinois activist J. Amal Green was indicted following allegations he attacked law enforcement at a protest. Supporters maintained Green never attacked the police. Criminal history. Records found for Mr. Snow reveal he was purportedly arrested in Illinois in 1996 for being a minor in possession of alcohol. Additionally, Action News Jax reported that Snow pleaded guilty to resisting law enforcement in 2008 in Indiana. He explained, "I was young and stupid. I grew up. Having that resisting on my record just proves my point for suggesting what Connell should have done. I was speaking from my own experience." See, he claims he was at his sister's house while drunk and got tasered for resisting arrest. The Times Union indicated the report states an officer was hurt when Snow jerked back his arm, causing the officer's ring finger to snag on the handcuffs. The felony charge was reduced to a misdemeanor as part of a plea deal. "We found that case." Indeed, he was arrested for resisting law enforcement in 2006. An interesting note, indicating he had to pay for the use of the taser which was used on him. MDCHLDW/GLTY plea, MDC held. Deft pleads guilty to CTI resisting law enforcement. D felony entered as Class A MISD with approval of the victim. State dismiss the remaining CTS, 1 year served in PCJ, all but time already served to be suspended except for 30 days pack time. W/fee. Fine 20.00 cubic centimeters 160.00, Deft will pay the 30.00 taser cartridge replacement fee, and unsubprob for the BAL of his sentence. Update, Bradenton arrest. Recently, Snow was arrested and charged with a fray in the Bradenton area of Florida. More details. Prior to the arrest, Snow had been in the nearby Tampa area to interject himself into political issues there. Use of social media. The earliest entries we can find for Snow are in 2015. It appears others have been purged or protected. One Facebook site clearly created by him is named American Pride Movement. In it, he calls himself a true American patriot and states, "It is the love of country that has lighted and keeps glowing the holy fire of patriotism." The earliest posts date back to October of 2015. He posts photos of himself wearing various masks, with guns, flags and other displays of self-proclaimed patriotism. The page, in conjunction with his primary Facebook page, Gary.Snow.50, show his strong political opinions and desire to defend them at all cost. In the opinion of this writer, it shows a level of depravity and indignation that has and could easily lead to more serious issues as time passes. Removed at request of Van Dijk's family/friends. Removed at request of Van Dijk's family/friends. He also moderates or participates in a host of Donald Trump blogs, frequently cross-posting calls for action or attendance at events. Shut down, but still searchable. Now private, fibersnow@yahoo.com 6'4" 255 pounds age 38. Being weak is a choice, so is being strong. Frank Zane. And others. Someone of similar stature seems to frequent several blogs, including eroids.com. Someone matching his physical description and self-described size spent quite a bit of time publicly disclosing the use of steroids and side effects therefrom. We suggest no one publish personal health information on the internet. We cannot confirm this is Snow. Opinions on equal rights movements and use of pejorative and racist language. Unfortunately, the examples of prejudice and bias are pretty endless, but Snow and/or his social media pages often use offensive language to get his ignorant points across. From terms like ghetto thugs to black plague, comparing African Americans to cave beasts, and using the racist term Dindu, Snow regularly expresses hate and an absolutely unwillingness to accept an equal and peaceful society. In one post from October 2015, Snow specifically addresses slavery and the "send them back to Africa" desire often spouted by those with contemptuous ignorance and racism. He invokes the name of God to essentially argue that black Americans are scientifically inappropriate for America and they should all return to their home where nature had intended for them to thrive. You can clearly see a photo identified with Gary Snow on the post and next to it, 3%er/Oath Keepers. From the American Pride Movement page to recent self-recorded videos, Snow wears and posts about being a 3%er or Oath Keeper quite often. The 3%ers is a self-proclaimed American patriot movement which pledges resistance against the United States government or any other person or group who seeks to infringe on the United States Constitution. During the American Revolution, the active forces in the field against the King's Army reportedly never amounted to more than 3% of the colonists. Today, these individuals swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and hold themselves out as guardians of the Republic. They have a code which often runs afoul with state and local laws. You can read more about them from the Anti-Defamation League, here. It is worth noting that Snow often wears the same clothes that he wears with masks. For instance, the same hat which is part of a disguise above was recently worn in a television interview. The same 3%ers t-shirt is also depicted both masked and unmasked above. Posting of modified Knights Templar flag. Not sure of any affiliation, but Snow also posted the Knights Templar flag as a new symbol for a new era. Even some Trump fans showed some apprehension about it. There is a group called Knights Templar International, which states, "The order desires to welcome into membership people who are natural leaders and who share an understanding of the threats we face today globally from radical Islam, liberalism, political corruption, cultural Marxism, and anti-Christian bigotry." We welcome those who are prepared to make a stand to defend all they hold dear regardless of the cost. This fits with some of their videos and stances, but they seemingly wouldn't allow any disparagement of their flag. Use of weapons and bullets in social media photos. In addition to disturbing messages and themes, Snow often posts photos of guns, bullets, and arguably threatening messages about getting in his way with deadly force if necessary. While potentially entirely within his rights, it certainly shows someone who may require additional scrutiny when at a protest, particularly in light of other matters discussed within this chronology. This is only a very small sample. Online intimidation to incite. There are repeated examples of people claiming Snow uses private messages and videos to threaten, intimidate, and incite violence. He also attends events and waits for the mix of his perceived or real affiliation with law enforcement and incited passions to boil over. He admitted the man burning and shooting the flag was him. And he occasionally brags in posts about proudly interrupting press conferences and others' rights to speak. What happened in Chicago? Chicago Code Blue. In February of 2016, Snow started http://www.chicagocodblue.com. It is currently registered to a company called Perfect Privacy in Jacksonville. It was originally called a non-profit coalition of law enforcement supporters. No one has ever been able to find where this entity was ever registered as a non-profit. In some cases, this is done to obtain donations by false pretenses. At some point, Snow got rid of federally protected term, nonprofit, and switched to a coalition of law enforcement supporters. Because of apparent complaints, he changed it again to CCB is a self-funded coalition of law enforcement supporters. As you will see, this organization remained under the scrutiny of law enforcement. It seemingly was always solely about using law enforcement to fulfill Snow's own personal promotion and agenda. Although sometimes referring to himself in the third person, Snow is the only one we can find associated with Chicago Code Blue, and he has photos of himself in some degree of disguise or cover-up on the homepage. See. Chicago Code Blue refused entry to Chicago St. Patrick's Day Parade. In February, Snow posted, "We have been rejected by the Chicago St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee. They do not want citizens who support our Chicago Blue in the parade." There is ample evidence that this is an untrue statement, likely designed to garner attention and sympathy. Meanwhile, he also established fundraisers through shirts and GoFundMe accounts. See. Snow discovered the concept of using media to convey a message, as he got this reported by a local television station. Other events refused and some officers asked Snow not to come around. As a result of additional rejections of his group, Snow posted, "Events are planned. We will not be asking permission in order for us to show support for our police officers and law enforcement. We have several events planned and in the making, and will notify as soon as they are finalized. We the people can make a difference, we can make the changes." As he told the news, "I'm not angry, I'm more upset. Every time we try to throw an event, every time we try to throw a rally, we hear the same thing, 'Hey, we really appreciate your efforts, but can you not do it, or can you reschedule it, or just not here?" Snow said. He left a 1-star review for the Magnificent Mile, an upscale section of Chicago's Michigan Avenue and popular tourist site in Chicago, even claiming its president took a swing at him. Use of Chicago Police Department for his personal profit. Snow used the website to sell t-shirts and also had one or more GoFundMe accounts. These are not archived and have been shut down. One of the GoFundMe pages was located at https://www.gofundme.com. Race baiting via Chicago Blue website. By April, he uploaded some inflammatory videos. It was all seemingly designed to portray a concept of us versus them, with the us being Snow and law enforcement, who he even admits evidence that they really didn't support him, and the them being those protesting causes he opposed. Snow defends himself to police accusing him of scamming. After the repeated rejection of his self-serving ways, Snow's own website reveals the lack of trust he had in Chicago with a blog entitled, Chicago Code Blue Wishes to Earn the Trust of CPD Officers. This has since been removed. He states, "It has been brought to our attentions that some CPD officers feel that the organizers in CCB are opportunists or scammers. We will be working with the CPD to try and help reassure the officers that our intentions are strictly to support their efforts to police our streets. We are a citizen community-based group and our members have no affiliation, or family members, with the CPD. We are the citizens you officers took an oath to protect, and we feel it's our obligation to show you support and try to help uplift the morale of the officers during these tough times of public scrutiny. Have not yet had the opportunity to prove ourselves to the CPD community, and we ask that you allow us the chance. We are a self-funded group and any fundraiser is to help with supplies needed for our planned events and rallies. And there has been an issue with our intentions with the t-shirt fundraisers. Some think this is a scam and we are trying to use the popularity of the police crisis to profit for ourselves. This is a lie. And only a few people within the police department have bothered to reach out to us and ask us what our intentions were with the fundraisers. Did we go about setting up the fundraisers the right way? Probably not. And as it relates to Officer Van Dyke, which will be discussed shortly, Snow posted, referring to himself in the third person. One of our members' efforts to help the Van Dyke family was started with only good intentions. As this case is the most sensitive at this moment in time, his efforts were only to show support for Officer Van Dyke and try to help by any means necessary. Again, his inexperience at attempting to help and support has been perceived by some CPD officers as malicious in nature, and that he was seeking to profit. He has been working with some friends of the Van Dyke family, and will properly help show support from this point going forward. Any suggestions at how the citizens can help the Van Dyke family will be much appreciated, as we are not affiliated with the police department or its procedures." At that point, he had a Jason Van Dyke is Innocent Facebook page, which is no longer active. He also had a GoFundMe page, which he admits was started without Van Dyke's knowledge or consent. It appears Officer Van Dyke's family put a stop to that, with others accused Snow of some species of fraud or misrepresentation. More about this will be discussed. As such, Snow's own webpage reveals that Chicago police rejected him fairly quickly as an opportunist and as someone who simply was using tragedy within and scrutiny of the law enforcement community to profit or push his own agenda. Chicago, Jason Van Dyke v. Laquan McDonald. As we mentioned, Snow used Jason Van Dyke's name to sell shirts and self-promote. We will first start with a little background about Jason Van Dyke and Laquan McDonald. Jason Van Dyke is an indicted Chicago area officer who was charged and is still awaiting trial for the first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of Laquan McDonald. The dashboard camera video of the white police officer shooting the black teen has caused a firestorm of controversy and led to a blistering report by the U.S. Justice Department that portrayed a broken, Chicago, police department in which officers commit misconduct and use excessive force with little fear of repercussions. The video shows Van Dyke opening fire within seconds of exiting his police SUV as McDonald walked away from police with a knife in his hand, contradicting many of the officers' written accounts that the teen had lunged at police with the knife. It is admittedly a highly controversial case with two sides, but it is a more egregious case of police misconduct in this author's opinion. It was around this time, Snow seemingly realized, 1. There was room for a voice and he could get attention as a voice for police and the Trump-type disenfranchised populace. 2. He could make shirts and profit and otherwise gain notoriety or pay for his protests. And 3. By acting as a police ally, he could push limits of confrontation and yet avoid some adverse consequences to those who disagreed with him because he was supporting those who would be the ones to make arrests. Even that wore thin with police, as they have a job to do, and Snow showed himself as fuel on a raging fire. In 2016, when demonstrators gathered outside Chicago Police Union headquarters to denounce the rehiring of Jason Van Dyke as a janitor, about 3 weeks prior, Snow was there. The article said, Gary Snow, of the South Suburbs, was the lone police supporter. The FOP has the authority to hire who they want to hire, Snow said. http://www.chicagotribune.com/news/lakewa-mcdonald-van-hyphen-jason-van-hyphen-dike-cord-mcdonald-van-story.html. However, Snow was asked to leave by officers after a tense confrontation with protesters. Photos show police physically keeping people apart. http://www.chicagotribune.com/news/lakewa-mcdonald-jason-van-hyphen-dik-cord-mcdonald-van-hyphen-20160323hyphen-20160331-2030-331-hyphen-story.html. There are also many photos and videos of Snow engaging and raising the temperature at these events. As stated by TV media, the group also engaged in a prolonged shouting match with Gary Snow, a pro-police activist and manager of the Chicago Code Blue Facebook page, who held a one-man counter-protest down the street. Like in Jacksonville, Snow would use social media to study those he opposed. He'd personally call them out and provoke them and increase frustration to a level where spontaneous reaction was inevitable. It's something he still does well. Chicago, Gary Snow v. J. A. Mal Green. J. A. Mal Green was one of the main activists who demonstrated outside the Fraternal Order of Police Chicago Lodge No. 7 on March 31, 2016. It's a slap in the face to Chicago residents, said activist J. A. Mal Green about the rehiring of Van Dyke. Wherever J. A. Mal Green went, Gary Snow was sure to be there, often reported as the lone voice supporting the police as a counter-protester. Snow kept pushing buttons. Officers have even speculated that Snow was not there to support Van Dyke, otherwise he'd have reached out to family or the family lawyer, but to use the Chicago police and Officer Van Dyke to disrupt protests and fight an agenda he disagreed with and further spread his name and blog. The debate went on. Today we're here to say, listen FOP, this is not the right message that you should be sending to Chicago residents, said activist J. A. Mal Green. He has not been convicted of first-degree murder, the trial is still going on, and he has the right to make a living, said Gary Snow. http://abc7chicago.com/news/police-unions-hiring-of-jason-van-dyke-sparks-anger/1270-140. Green was arrested in July of 2016 during a protest of the deadly shootings by police in Minnesota and Louisiana. Cell phone video shows someone who appears to be Green in a yellow tank top getting pulled from a metal barricade. Green was charged with attempting to disarm an officer, 2 counts of aggravated battery of a peace officer and 2 counts of aggravated battery in a public place, all felonies. He was also charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of resisting or obstructing an officer. 18 other people arrested Saturday were charged with misdemeanors. He was later released. Chicago, Gary Snow v. Van Dyke family. Despite taking Van Dyke's side, Van Dyke's family asked Snow to stop. Snow even sold shirts with Van Dyke's name on them in addition to the trademark of the CPD. The listing is still active. When you read the comments, you see people demanding Snow stop. He promoted his t-shirt site everywhere he could without getting the family's or Officer Van Dyke's permission to use his name or obtain permission to use CPD's logo. Chicago, Gary Snow v. Chicago Police. This police blog, Second City Cop, repeatedly calls out Snow and his seedy ways before he left town. Here are a few of the comments left on the page. Opportunist is one of the words that comes to mind. We'll see how it all plays out. Anonymous said, I don't know who sent you that screenshot, but that guy Gary Snow is a scammer that started the Code Blue t-shirts, yet none of the money he collects goes to any police organizations. He also started a GoFundMe page collecting $$ for Van Dyke, but the Van Dyke family didn't know him. There are numerous posts about his scamming on FB etc. Anonymous said. SCC, I believe that this Gary fella is the same Gary that is trying to sell CPD merchandise under less than honorable circumstances. He is not a member of the CPD and is trying to capitalize on an unfortunate situation. Anonymous said. The organizer, Gary Snow, is a scam artist. Anonymous said. Gary Snow is a scammer. He tried a GoFundMe for Van Dyke and nobody knows him. He just keeps reinventing stuff to make money. Full of crap. Anonymous said. I'd be a little cautious when dealing with Gary Snow, seems he's a one-man show trying to sell t-shirts with the proceeds going to various police organizations. Also he set up a GoFundMe account for Van Dyke without the family's knowledge. His GoFundMe page has the money going to Gary Snow and none of the police organizations he claims to fund have heard of him. Below is a quote from another police blog on FB from somebody that questioned him. The guy that is unhappy that he cannot be in the parade supporting police officers is Gary Snow. Gary Snow is the same guy that started the GoFundMe for Officer Van Dyke. Nowhere on Code Blue site can you find a name of people in the organization. I sent an email and lo and behold Gary Snow answered me and encouraged me to sell the t-shirts in our group so we would have them in time for the parade. When I asked for other names he sent me another message. February 11, 2016, 2:32 p.m. Anonymous said. Code Blue is a scam organization, please look them up. February 11, 2016, 9:08 p.m. Safetman said. Here is the website for Gary Snow's Code Blue. Anonymous said. This subject sure created a lot of controversy. Maybe the parade committee had a valid reason for rejecting them. Did anyone call them to find out? Since I am retired from the job I don't have access to data anymore. What I did find fro the Chicago Code Blue Facebook page, it links to booster.com which is located in an office park in Newton, Ma. It says you can sell apparel and accept donations without risk or cost. Chicago Code Blue has shirts for sale there with the logo and a shamrock, just in time for St. Patrick's Day. There are names listed of people who have bought shirts or donated. Chicago Code Blue said it is a coalition of self-funded members and want to show support for law enforcement while raising money. My questions are, who is Gary Snow? Where is Code Blue located? Who are the members? Since they raise money for law enforcement, where does the money go? And so on. Can someone vet Gary Snow and Chicago Code Blue? February 12, 2016, 4:24 a.m. Anonymous said, the guy in the group is a scam artist, no connection to police but selling t-shirts that he keeps profits on, telling everyone it goes to JVD. February 12, 2016, 9:40 p.m. Anonymous said. Not a single poster knows this organization that got turned down. Not one. What does that tell you? February 12, 2016, 11:20 p.m. And he replied. Gary Snow said. Hello, I am Gary Snow, founder of the community-based non-profit group Chicago Code Blue. It has been brought to my attention that some feel as if my intentions to show support for the men and women of our Chicago Blue are not legitimate. If you need to ask me any questions personally, please feel free to contact me, as I have nothing to hide. You can email me at gsnow@chicagocodeblue.com. Myself, Kasey Zainin, and Terry King created Chicago Code Blue in efforts to rally citizens to show support for the CPD officers, as well as local law enforcement. Kasey's pro-police rally last December 12 was cancelled per the request from CPD, and we both felt that the Chicago St. Patrick's Day Parade was the perfect venue to allow the citizens to show support for the officers. Terry King is the founder of P.A.C.K People Against Cop Killers. She has also held the Blue Ribbon Walk last year, and has another walk scheduled for this year. I am also the author of the Facebook pages www.facebook.com/justice-for-jason-van-dyke-is-innocent-107463614256697 www.facebook.com/jasonvandyke is innocent. 7905570577406668. Anyone who thinks we are scammers or that our efforts are not legitimate, please feel free to contact me. The response we have received so far is overwhelmingly positive, but I expected we would have some skeptics or haters. February 12, 2016, 7:29 p.m. And Gary Snow said, currently the only way to donate any funds to the Van Dyke family is through the Patrolman Credit Union. I wanted to help, not scam. But before accusing me, why not help me? I have reached out to the Daniel Herbert several times and he has accepted my friend request via Facebook. He knows and can monitor my actions to support the CPD and JVD. I am in no need of additional income. I work full-time and bring home over $100,000 a year as a contractor. So to think I am in this to make some money is absurd. We are completely self-funded. Could we use some help from a fundraisers? Yes, that allows others to get involved. February 13, 2016, 5:52 a.m. He moved to Jacksonville months later. Chicago, Gary Snow v. Media. A review of what happened this week to Action News reporter Jenna Bourne shows Snow's vulnerable, but desperate side. He craves attention, but can't stand when it isn't positive or his condoled message. She posted this message from him on her Twitter feed. After an interview, according to Ms. Bourne, Snow waited for me outside courthouse for hours, confronted and followed me to my car. He also is seen putting a camera in her face and antagonizing her in front of the courthouse. Like everything else with Snow, this wasn't the first time. He accused a Chicago reporter of stalking him and made some very interesting interactions with media, of which we only get to see his side here. We plan to speak to this reporter this week, but his allegations about Snow continue to this day. Add in these similar issues and confrontations with media and you have nearly exactly what is being played out in Jacksonville. Snow is seeking friendships with police, including taking photos and being Facebook friends with the sheriff and family of other officers. He has been pushing and provoking for months and waiting for an eruption. It will be a long, hot summer in Jacksonville if this isn't stopped. Look at his own words. We will not be asking permission in order for us to show support for our police officers and law enforcement. It has been brought to our attentions that some CPD officers feel that the organizers in CCB are opportunists or scammers. There has been an issue with our intentions with the t-shirt fundraisers. Some think this is a scam and we are trying to use the popularity of the police crisis to profit for ourselves. This is a lie. One of our members' efforts to help the Van Dyke family was started with only good intentions. As this case is the most sensitive at this moment in time, his efforts were only to show support for Officer Van Dyke and try to help by any means necessary. Again, his inexperience at attempting to help and support has been perceived by some CPD officers as malicious in nature, and that he was seeking to profit. Jacksonville's problem. Ally to Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Since moving to Jacksonville, Snow has created either a perception or a reality of being an ally and/or friend to police. The perception is certainly based in fact, as he is seen with the sheriff in photos, as Facebook friends and frequently drops his name and the name of JSO's officers and has some affiliated with JSO or their family commenting on his posts. Everywhere he goes, police surround him and he seems to have a level of immunity that others do not have. Is this why? From Chicago Code Blue to Jacksonville Code Blue. Like in Chicago, he set up Jacksonville Code Blue and Jack's Code Blue, taken down. Jacksonville, affiliated with law enforcement. Snow continues to use JSO's logo and affiliations to create an apparent or real association with the police and public officials. Is the General Counsel's and Mayor's office okay with use of the city's marks for antagonization? No attempt by JSO to distance itself or prohibit crest usage, apparent or real association. Like in Chicago, Snow has used JSO's logo to promote his personal agenda with zero apparent resistance or attempt by JSO or the city of Jacksonville to stop him. He has used this logo since May 30, 2016 today, almost 1 year, while being the sheriff's Facebook friend and the friend of other officers. He frequently shares Jacksonville Sheriff's Office content on Facebook, as well. Each time, Facebook would provide notification of use of this content. As such, JSO would have some degree of notice of use by Jacksonville Code Blue's use of its officers and its brand for his own agenda and perceived or real affiliation. He also frequently uses the pronoun we as if he is directly affiliated or partnered with JSO and indicates attending events with them. Is he or not a partner of JSO? Do they therefore have bias towards him? It has never been addressed by the sheriff of City of Jacksonville. As such, step 1 of what he did in Chicago has been instituted an attempt or actual association with the local police department. At least in Chicago, he did not have direct contact with the sheriff, and many officers and organizers saw through him and shut him down pretty quickly. Same has not occurred here. Jacksonville, Snow throws pro-police events to meet more officers and get media attention for free public relations and affiliation with sheriff's office, failed in Chicago. As Jacksonville is smaller than Chicago, Snow has been able to engage earned media, show an affiliation with Jacksonville's officers and throw community events for them all while using photos with official and using JSO marks to his benefit. This man admittedly has no affiliation with JSO or family within JSO or law enforcement background. Yet, our city does nothing? Jacksonville, hate speech and fear-mongering. Snow disseminates videos of seeming intimidation to local leaders of progressive movements, as well as those still in Chicago. He also continues to discuss and publicly wear items supporting the 3%ers and Oath Keepers and publicly advocates the suppression of speech he opposes at all cost. He calls it triggering. His goal is to troll people to anger, outburst or violence. These are examples he recorded and is proud of. Jacksonville, provoke under the apparent guide of the color of law, largely failed in Chicago. Using JSO's badge on his organization and photos of him and Facebook friendship with the sheriff, State Attorney Angela Corey and others, Snow has attended many events as a counter-protester. Many events were in support of President Trump, where those same city officials were also in attendance and also openly supported President Trump. Jacksonville, target individuals repeatedly. In this video taken before the Hemming Park incident, Snow admits to still fucking with these motherfuckers and calls out Connell and Dave by name, 2 people who ultimately were arrested while he was not. This was not a chance encounter. He uses tactics to incite violence by constantly oppressing free expression and getting in people's faces, in addition to using the threats and intimidation above. Meanwhile, police walk around him and protect him from their rage and only arrest one side of the conflict. Is he an agent of JSO? Specific incident at Hemming Park. Per the Times-Union, Snow said to the Hemming Park protesters, "I said, hey, you can protest, I'm just letting you know, we're going to still be here until 2018. You resist, we're going to revolt." Gary Snow's response.
Hey Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.